So tell me a little bit about the package of bills that you heard in committee today, and kind of where, what are the major issues you're trying to address, and then how do these bills, do that?
Well, I have a lot of wildfire bills or bills that are associated with the Smokehouse Creek fire and others that we went through last year, and was a direct result of the committee, the investigative committee, where the hearings were held in Pampa. Today's bills were about uh, preventing fire. Number one, first and foremost, we talk a lot about airplanes and firefighters and funding and all the different pieces of this, but it would be great if we just didn't start fires.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we started today. One bill would allow the Railroad Commission, through the work of the Public Utility Commission, to shut power off to an operator in an oil field that has a fire hazard violation. And that's where 85% of our fires are starting, in this old stripper well field in Hutchinson County and western Gray County. So that was one. Pole inspection. We've got a problem, and our wildfire committee shined a light on a problem all over the state. We have an aging infrastructure because the way we fund our utilities in this state. Utilities get funded through the PUC, and there's funds out there for pole replacement, vegetation mitigation, all of this stuff. Well, about 25 years ago, it became common practice for these utilities to adopt deferred maintenance plans. So instead of using those funds for their intended purposes, they use them for other things, substations, things that give them a larger return on investment. And over time, the infrastructure starts splintering. And that's where we're at now. We're at critical mass if we don't start replacing poles, transformers, cross arms, wires, and not just on distribution lines, but transmission lines as well. So we had another bill that aimed at that. A disaster mitigation plan. There's no cohesiveness in how any utility addresses things like wildfires. There's the PUC says, "Oh, you have a plan? Great. We'll just put it in a file cabinet, and not do anything with it." We're trying to create some standardization for all utilities in Texas, and some transparency, where the ratepayer that goes out and says, "I haven't seen a pole replaced here in 50 years," can actually go to the PUC and look at their utilities mitigation plan and know where they're at on the schedule for maintenance.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy that
Yeah.
that exists? It's just
Then finally, we heard the communications bill, and it is a bill that creates a interoperability communications council to be headed up by TDM. The governor will appoint members, the lieutenant governor and certainly the speaker will appoint members, and then we'll have at-large members and industry experts to build out interoperability system. But the fund and the council will actually do more than that. It will ultimately become a funding source for training and equipment for our volunteers of all first responder disciplines. The firefighters certainly, and would give credit where credit is due. They became the heroes of the Panhandle wildfires. But I don't want it ever to get lost that our sheriff's offices, our DPS, our game wardens, our EMS service, our municipal police, and then certainly all municipal services played a role in getting the fire put out and saving lives, but also in the aftermath and the cleanup. And so the fund I'm trying to create through House Bill 13 will allow all disciplines of first responders to participate in this, which is the right thing to do.
And what's the fund? How much? I heard. What was the number on the funding for that?
So the original, what we're asking for this session is $500 million. And so the $500 million would go into an account at the comptroller's office and be drawn down on for the purpose of building out the interoperability infrastructure, certainly, but also training and buying equipment. So there's 57 different communication networks in this state that each municipality pays into. When we get a statewide system up and running, and two things on that. By municipality or county participating in this fund, they're going to end up with the purchasing power of the state. So equipment training gets way cheaper. But then when the communication system's up running, instead of them all paying into these independent communications towers, they all pay into one. And so they fund their own system. TDM does not have control of the money. A&M will not have control of the money. It will be used for this purpose and managed at the comptroller.
That'll be great. That'll help. That'll be so helpful to local governments.
Oh, yeah.
I know that.
We're trying to create a funding source for our first responders that's never been done before, and something in a new way. I can go, we can pass a bill right now to say, hey, here's $1 million. Go buy radios. That won't fix this problem because everybody will buy something different that won't work together. Right. Chief Kidd and TDM and Forest Service, and certainly local law enforcement have all worked with me for over a year now to come up with this concept. We have a 140-day session. What I presented today in committee is what I think I can pass in a 140-day session. Right. I wish I could put more in it, but time's ticking. So, but I do think it's a good place to start. This is about building blocks. I don't think we're fixing any of the problems we saw with the fires in any single bill, but we have to start somewhere.
Right. Well, a system builds sustainability too.
Right.
I mean, in years past, y'all have done grants and different things like that, which are helpful, but it's not sustainability.
Well, so grants are really bad for where you and I live.
Yes.
Because we don't have any grant writers. Right. I mean, you know how to write a grant. I can write a grant. But your average, or in our little small towns, not that they're not capable of doing it, nobody's ever shown our average fire chief how to write a grant. And they all work and have other jobs and donate their time. They don't have,
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's been part of the problem with the grant funding as it is in the 2604 for the volunteer firefighters. We had $194 million of backlog grants that some of them were more than 12 years old. And that wasn't a bill we heard today, but I put $50 million or 28 million additional in that grant. So the grant way it works today is $22 million a year split over 1,800 volunteer departments. That's no money. So the backlog just continues to grow. We added $28 million to the fund, and we wiped out the backlog of grants in a one-shot appropriation. That is all in the budget today. It did not take an independent bill to do it, but that's what I've been. We start writing the budget in August before the coming session, and I got that money in the budget on both sides, the House and the Senate, before session ever started. So, I know I'm not actually looking for an accolade or a pat on the back, but and not that everything I'm doing is maybe the right approach, but I don't think anybody can say I haven't been working.
Right. Well, this is how you make good policy, right?
Yeah.
You took this terrible tragedy that happened to our folks and you went to work and figured out where the breakdowns were. And I've just really been impressed with the whole process. So the committee hearing in Pampa was amazing. Just, of course, I love the panhandle, gumption of all of it, where we're not mincing words. We're just telling people, okay, here's the problem and you did this and this is how we need to fix it. And y'all continue to do that. And I think that's part of why you're getting to where you are on this, in my opinion.
I think you're spot on, and I said it in the committee, while I may be the tip of the spear, there's no I in team. This is taking work from everybody that showed up to give testimony in the wildfire hearings. Everybody, my friends that were on the committee with me, Jason Abraham, James Henderson, they have worked for a year hand in hand with Forest Service to fix all the stuff they could fix on the Forest Service response, and when we can let our local crop dusters and things like that participate in the wildfire effort. They got an unbelievable amount of work done just working with the agency that I didn't have to carry a bill for. And without those guys, I've probably got 20 bills this session that I intend to get done that focus on some aspect of the problem that caused it or that led to the Smokehouse Creek fire. But without the help of a lot of people, not just those two, I'd probably have 100 bills I'd be trying to juggle down here. And so I can't say enough about the team effort.
Awesome. I love that. Well, keep up the good work.
I will.
We love it.
I try.
I of course just mentioned this a while ago, but I just really appreciate the leadership, the expertise, the ability to work and work for your district. I mean, I think that's something that's always been great about our rural folks and our panhandle folks is that we know our people and we know what we need to do.
It's interesting that you bring that up. I have a unique, in some ways, you can look at it both ways. When you're from a place like Canadian and House District 88, my population doesn't change. So I have to answer to the same folks every election cycle about what I did or didn't do and why I made this decision or that decision. So when the big money from out of our district comes in and tells lies about me, some people will buy into it, but most people are like, I know Ken. That's not right.
Right.
And so and then you look at other parts of Texas where the populations are changing so much and more of our news comes off the internet. So if it's on the internet, it's got to be true. It's changed the dynamic of this place in the last 10 years. But I think personally, people down here say, oh my God, you have 19 counties. That's horrible. I would not change my zip code with anybody. I love all 19 counties, have friends in every one of them. And, I try to do, it's funny, I see people put things on Twitter about how much money I make doing this. $600 a month. I don't do this for the money, I can tell you that. So if you can't do something good for the folks that sent you here, kind of wasting your time.
Yeah, we're lucky. We live in one of the best places in the world. So
absolutely,
it's easy and the values and all the things that we live by day to day. That's your foundation. So
absolutely.
Well, I appreciate you very much.
You bet.
Keep it up.
I'll do it.
The good work. All right.